Hi, my name is Chanel and I'm a part of the First Aid Club. Recently, we've been learning about the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 and how it relates to the COVID-19 pandemic. We created this presentation to help you understand what the Spanish flu pandemic was, how it affected Delaware, and how is it similar to the COVID-19 pandemic. These are the topics we'll be going over. This is a timeline from when the Spanish flu pandemic started to when it ended. The origin of the Spanish flu is not really known. It could have originated from either France, China, or Britain. A common misconception about the Spanish flu is that it originated in Spain, hence the name. The reason it is called the Spanish flu is because Spain was neutral during World War I. Other countries in the war didn't share news of the flu and feared that it would affect their morale, so the Spanish media was able to write about the sickness in detail. Since other nations could only read about the sickness from Spain, they assumed that is where the sickness originated from. The first case of the Spanish flu in the U.S. was detected on a military base in Kansas. The first case of the Spanish flu in Delaware is unknown. We can estimate that it was somewhere between after March 1918 and before October 3, 1918. On October 3, 1918, the State Board of Health ordered most of Delaware to shut down to stem the spread of the Spanish flu. On October 27, 1918, the shutdown was lifted because the first wave of the Spanish flu passed. 6 months later, the second wave of the Spanish flu hit Delaware. The second wave was worse than the first wave. By the summer of 1919, the Spanish flu started to end in the U.S. Those who were infected either died or developed immunity. By 1920, the Spanish flu had almost run its course in Delaware. By 1924, the Spanish flu pneumonia death rate had been cut in half. A brief summary. The Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 was a pandemic that lasted from early March of 1918 to 1920. This flu took the lives of an estimated amount of 50 million to 100 million people worldwide. About 675,000 of those people were Americans. How the Spanish flu affected Delaware. Wilmington got hit the hardest. Over 5 weeks in the months of September and October, more than 650 people died in Delaware. On December 9th, 1918, several teachers in Lewis caught the Spanish flu. 2 days later, there were 250 cases in Lewis. Also, 2 days later, towns in Delaware were under quarantine. Public gatherings were forbidden and schools and churches were closed. Due to the lack of modern-day technology, doctors and scientists were unable to identify the cause of the Spanish flu and how to treat it. How is COVID-19 similar to the Spanish flu? COVID-19 and the Spanish flu have similar symptoms, including fever, fatigue, diarrhea, muscle aches, coughing, sore throat, vomiting, congestion or runny nose, and nausea. How it was handled. During both pandemics, most states were on mandatory lockdowns and big public gatherings were prohibited. Although masks were worn and people social distanced, they didn't have vaccines like we do now. Scientists were not able to understand what caused the flu and how to treat it. Symptoms of the Spanish flu include chills, fever, fatigue, lungs being filled with fluid, and skin turning blue. The second wave of the Spanish flu was deadlier than the first wave. With the first wave, most patients had regular flu symptoms, like chills, fever, and fatigue. These patients were able to recover from their symptoms within a few days. But in the second wave, more people began to die within hours and days. Some symptoms of the second wave were lungs being filled with fluid that caused people to suffocate and skin turning blue. People's skin would turn blue because of the lack of oxygen they were getting, as they had problems breathing. These are news articles from different states during the Spanish flu pandemic. They were mostly about how to stem the spread of the flu and what to do to keep yourself safe. These are maps that pinpoint where the first case of the Spanish flu was found in the U.S. and Delaware. We can see on the U.S. map that the first case of the Spanish flu was detected in a military base in Kansas. And we can see on the Delaware map that the first case of the Spanish flu was detected in Lewis. We want you to know that the United States has dealt with the pandemic before. Although it was hard, we were able to get through it. The same goes for the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been hard, but we will get through it. We just have to take all necessary precautions, listen to the experts, and work together. That is the only way we will get through this, together. These are our sources. Thank you.